The Board of Curators made the decision pretty quickly in about 10 minutes. Coach Barry Odom is being extended with his contract through the year 2024. In Vini's presentations, he teaches students how to become mental wellness superheroes with 3 ideas: transforming shame, silence, and sabotage into strengths. According to Missouri Department of Corrections, nearly 90% of inmates need help with substance abuse issues. The Rock Island Trail will connect from here in St. Louis all the way through to Kansas City in one stretch. Pet experts say it's not as easy as looking at your dog's food to know when there's a recall. Medicine approved to treat 2 severe forms of epilepsy in young children. Water. Fill the tube up to about 100 milliliters and send it off for results in the mail in about a week. Owners of that building. The agreement, made on March 5th in 1898, protects the owner of the building at 200 East High Street. But according to state auditor, Ostrick was using those cash payments from Callaway citizens and pocketing for herself. Today, a bill calling for an expansion of alternative sentencing centers passed in the House, and now it's heading to the Senate, where it's expected to get the green light. Drug treatment is one choice in the program. Today, I talked to a man who says he's thankful for the path it's put him on.
Second chances mean everything.
This former drug user says drug court helped him find his way back into society, doing many things people take for granted, like getting a driver's permit.
It was never a possibility before in my life. You don't even know. You're just like, wow, like I'm actually, that's something normal people do. Normal people have a license and drive, so it's definitely a step forward.
Loretta Schutten of Como Youth Works sees a difference in people who go to drug court and says support from lawmakers would mean a lot.
We need to give them the resources to keep that going, because they're really changing the trajectory of folks' lives.
According to Missouri Department of Corrections, nearly 90% of inmates need help with substance abuse issues. Alternative sentencing centers like this one helps keep ex-drug users like Noah out of the prison system.
Data has shown that people that come into drug court have higher successful outcomes than people that are sentenced to the Department of Corrections or are sentenced to straight probation.
Schutten says a punitive prison system does not work, and if people are able to get out of the system, they end up worse than before.
I'm being successful, and that's all through these courts. This court has guided me to do that. Governor Parson has repeatedly voiced support for drug courts. Live in the studio, Johannah Grenaway, KOMU 8 News. An MU vet toxicologist says there's been several cases here in Missouri.
Yes, you have a name tag. You know what? Oh, it says Roxy right there.
Nicholas Appleton and his wife have a special bond with their dog, Roxy.
So Roxy's our baby. We don't have any children, so our animals are our children.
He already knew about the most recent recall from the FDA.
Well, it's just like driving a car. You have recalls on your car, so I kind of equate the same thing. We want everybody to be safe.
Tim Evans is Missouri's only board-certified veterinary toxicologist. He says he wants to spread the word about this recall.
Excessive amounts of vitamin D, which is a normal component of the pet food, but in this particular instance, it seems to be excessive.
Vitamin D toxicity can cause major heart and kidney issues.
Kyle Schlosser sells dog foods at his pet market, Lizzie and Rocco's. None of his brands are on the list. Pet experts say it's not as easy as looking at your dog's food to know when there's a recall.
That all has to do with looking at lot codes and looking at manufacturers and everything like that.
Appleton said keeping up with recalls for man's best friend is just as important as for humans.
You need to be aware of recalls. It's very important because, to treat your animals properly.
Evans suggests if you notice unusual symptoms in your pet to visit a vet for a checkup. You can find the recall list on our site at KOMU.com. In the studio, Johannah Grenaway, KOMU 8 News. Sometimes local governments order boil notices if water quality is questionable. But one Sedalia man says he boils his water every day. That's because management at his mobile home park is not testing the water how they should be. The Department of Natural Resources had to go there to test the water themselves since Crestview wouldn't.
I just fill this pan and boil it, and after it starts boiling, let it boil for about 3 to 5 minutes. Then I put it in this container over here when I'm going to use it, to make coffee and jello and stuff.
Tom Belsha has lived at Crestview Mobile Home Park for 20 years.
He's been boiling his water for half that time.
And whenever it starts getting pretty low, well, then I just go ahead and reboil some more.
The Safe Water Drinking Act requires water systems to test monthly for bacteria, such as E. coli. The Department of Natural Resources has Crestview Mobile Home Park listed among the chronic monitoring violators. According to the data, their water hasn't been tested since June, when DNR went to test it itself. I reached out to property manager Vicki Shackles at her home, but she declined to go on camera. She disagrees with state and county records. She claims she gets the water from this well tested regularly, but declined to share her documents.
Well, see, that tells you about how honest they are then, right there. That's why I don't believe them.
I also went to the Pettis County Health Department, where the water testing kits are picked up and dropped off. The last record they have from Crestview matches up with the DNR's record,
June 14th.
and not Shackles' account.
The water testing kit comes with a tube like this, and all you have to do is simply run the cold water, fill the tube up to about 100 milliliters, and send it off for results in the mail in about a week.
Todd Ickles with the Department of Natural Resources says Missouri's water is clean for the most part.
So this mobile home park has its own private well. And, Missouri's blessed, kind of south of I-70 with good quality groundwaters.
But Belsha doesn't have that luxury. He says he doesn't even get a public notice if something's wrong.
So you never know when it would be safe to drink.
From the standpoint of how often a sample is positive for E. coli or such, it's very rare. So we have very safe water, and for the most part, everybody recognizes that. But at the same time, we do have to prove it.
Here's the thing, though. DNR can't force Crestview management to test the water, but they do have trained operators to encourage testing and get financial assistance when needed.
That water system, it's very small. It's struggled to maintain compliance. It's basically related to the technical and financial capability of that water system. So, they have been in perpetual noncompliance, and, there has been some formal enforcement action to try to get them into compliance.
DNR contacts the Attorney General for enforcement, but Belsha has had his own meetings with former Attorney General Chris Koster and says nothing has changed.
I've just gave up on it. Don't care anymore, I was surprised to see somebody that cared,
Previous Attorney General Chris Koster implored Crestview to become a legal member of the Homeowners Association, but it's still not a member. I tried reaching out to Attorney General Josh Hawley's office, but did not receive a response. In the studio, Johannah Grenaway, KOMU 8 News.